to blame for our anger and our emotions, but it's letting go of our ego and saying, this is about forgiveness. This is about unconditional love, and it's so that whatever spiritual path I have, it's about the growth that I do, and it's not about somebody else doing the path for me, because nobody can.
Once we have that connection with the inner self, we start to realize that there are more things than what is that we believe in the human awareness.
We all need a blueprint in order to advance and build on a future. Our ancestors, like in the native traditions, rely not only on their DNA, but on the wisdom that's passed down, whether verbally, written, or through scripture. And as spiritualists, we are able to extend ourselves into a spiritual realm and endeavor to communicate and receive these communications from these ancestors.
We begin to realize that there is even more than having to follow a certain religion and belief. There is the realization of having to realize that the true power for happiness is the connection between mind, body, and soul.
Reverend Roy, is there any restrictions, laws, disciplines for those that are in the other, would you call, dimension or spiritual world that they have to follow so that they could perhaps make contact with their loved ones?
Well, you have to understand that many people go to the spirit world or to the other side, as a lot of people call it, without having any idea about spirit communication or spiritualism. And it depends on the individual. There is no law, there is no guidance, there is nothing to tell them that they can do this unless they find out for themselves.
So therefore, in having to understand that we are spirit and incarnated within a body, in order to be happy within the body, we must have a connection with the soul and the spirit.
And usually they find out from people who have made the communication with the physical world. But it's the same as here, you have to look for it. But if you do over there, then you are guided, and then you can find out how it works and what the fundamentals are with regards to making communication with the physical world. Of course, a lot of people might be excited to be able to do this, to tell their loved ones that they're still alive, but the problem is with some people, depending on their own beliefs that they've had here, and religions and whatnot, when you mention that they have to do it through a medium, that may be something else, because they're having to connect with something that they may have avoided when they were living on the physical plane. They usually, it's the same situation as here, really. They may query somebody that's done it before, and they may say, oh, it's great, you can talk to so-and-so down here, if they are available. Because they can only communicate with people here if they are in attendance, such as in a spiritual church or environment or a circle or something like that. And that doesn't happen too often. So the opportunity, although maybe desired, is not always there because their loved ones here have no concept of this either. So very little takes place actually in spirit communication, because there are very few instances that it can occur. And even in the mediumship situation, there aren't that many mediums that can clearly connect with the spirit world.
So that we can experience a better sense of who we are, a greater expansion of happiness, peace, self-love, and wealth in our surroundings.
Do you believe that someone could find or reach out for that unconditional love?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Whether all do, of course, is another matter, because we all have free will. But certainly they can reach out because we believe, as many others do, that God is unconditional love, and it is there for the taking. If we occasionally get off the path, well, the love is nonetheless there for when we decide to come back.
For your fears are coming from a lack of connection. And that connection comes from a lack of choice, or not wanting to know yourself. You are living with the greatest soulmate, with the greatest love of your life, which is the Spirit you.
Bella, fears
Yeah.
do have effects. And what kind of effect has to to individuals? And what meditation will do in that case?
I think that fear is something we create ourselves. And fear is a negative thing. It's something negative. And since meditation is positive, it would help to eliminate it gradually.
Your body is just an essence in which it needs to open itself up and say, I embrace a greater part of me that I would want to come to know. When you meet someone in your life and the relationship spices the emotions and the heart and you feel so good about that person, don't you want to know more about that person so that you will know everything about him or her and be able to synchronize with the individual? And so it is also relating to your spirit. Once you open up in this soul awakening, there is a thirst inside of you that you want to know more and more. And the more you want, the more of the realization of self-knowledge, self-acceptance, self-worth, and self-mastery channeled into your incarnated self.
A couple that are going through a mystic experience of life, meaning that their love is not as radiant as it used to be. And though right now, one of them, I guess they're caught into this letting go.
Both of them get caught up in letting go. Relationships are wonderful learning opportunities. When people meet each other for the first time and they're so much in love with each other, they are unable to see anything wrong with the other person. And that's when they see them truly. That's when they see them as they really are. When we first start going out with somebody, we want to give. We want to do everything for them. We want to cook for them. We want to give them a massage. We want to take them places. And it's only as we move into the relationship that we begin to see what we want to receive from the relationship. And so it becomes one of receiving. And then if we don't get what we want, then we start getting upset and we start blaming the other person for not fulfilling our needs. But a relationship is not about receiving, it's about giving. And so whenever a couple or a member in a couple is caught up in something that is not working in the relationship, they've got to be able to sit down and really look at